Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Brianna and this is For Positive Book. I make bookish videos over here in my little corner of the internet, so if that's something that you're interested in, make sure that you hit the subscribe button down below. I am once again drowning in books, but this is the last book haul of 2023. I wanted to film this video prior to filming my whole unread TBR, so that way everything was organized and it made sense. So I'm filming this a little bit early, but this is a very big book haul and some of them are gifts, but not all of them. I still bought a lot of books in the last like a month and a half or so, and so here we are, we're doing another book haul. So let's start with the gifts and then we'll just go into the I have no self-control and I bought books because seasonal depression is a thing. If anyone here has a channel, I will link them down below. So without further ado, let's just start. The first one is The Wildfire Watch by Jacqueline Hagan. This is actually one of the books I will be reading for Spiffo 9, Cassidy's version, Mel's Takeover. And this is actually from Cassidy. Merry Christmas, Brie. Thanks for clowning about T-Swizzle with me. Appreciate you so much, from Cassidy. When the night that we thought that Taylor Swift was going to announce Reputation, we were in her Discord talking about this, and it was me and her and a couple of other people just like absolutely clowning the entire time. We're like, no, it'll be now. No, it'll be now. And we were wrong, we were clowns. But that was a really fun night, and so thank you, Cassidy, so much. I love and appreciate you so much. You are an inspiration to me, and yeah, not gonna cry in this. The next gift was from Mel. I haven't heard of this one, but the cover is just so cool. I hope you have a very happy holidays. And that is Bonded by Thorns by Elizabeth Helen. This is an indie fantasy romance, and it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but with Faye. And I think Neva was talking about it, and that's why I put it on my list. I know Shay has also read it and really loved it. So the fourth book just came out, so now I am like a little bit behind. This is the first one, but yeah, the cover is absolutely gorgeous. Thank you so much, Mel. Again, you have become one of my favorite people on BookTube. So thank you so much. And I look forward to everything we're gonna do next year. And also meeting both you and Cassidy out of HollyCon in 2024. The next one is from Brittany. Merry Christmas. I'm so glad that we built a friendship this year, from Brittany over at Brittany Loves a Reading. Brittany is somebody that I think I actually met her last year, but I could be wrong. But we became very close friends throughout 2023. She was one of the hosts for Amazing Readathon, and she has been one of like the first people that I text if I want somebody to join sprints with me. She's so much fun. But I've been holding up the book. Anyways, this is Thornhedge by T. Kingfisher. I actually don't know anything about this. I think it's her newest one, but it's a like dark fairy tale retelling. There's a princess trapped in a tower. This isn't her story. I don't really want to know a lot about it because it's a novella, so we're gonna go in blind, but thank you so much, Brittany, and thank you so much for being just an amazing friend this year. And then I did a couple of Secret Santas. So this one I actually don't know who gave it to me because it just says from Sneaky Secret Santa, but this was from like a group collaboration Patreon with Cassidy and Mel and Lexi. But I got Bookshelves and Bone Dust by Travis Baldry. This one I read earlier, like a couple months ago, for the Goodreads Choice Awards, and it was a good time. It's definitely like a fun, cozy fantasy if you like that. I think Legends Lantes was better, but still had a good time with this one. And then for Bethany's Patreon, we had this fun thing where you made a book box for your Secret Santa, and I had so many cool things. There were some crystals in there, there was a tarot or like an oracle deck, but there were 3 books in there. So Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. This is a 5-star read for me. I loved this one, but I've lost my physical copy of it. I think I let somebody borrow it and I never found it, so I put the paperback copy on my wish list. So I, had another physical copy of it. This might be one that I reread at some point. And then 2 that I hadn't read, The Surviving Sky by Kritika H. Rao. This is like a sci-fi dystopian. High above a jungle planet float the last refugees of humanity, plant-made civilizations held together by tradition, technology, and arcane scientists. Here, architects are revered deeply, with humanity's survival reliant on a privileged few. If not for their abilities, the cities would plunge into the devastating Earth Rage storms below. That sounds exciting. Love climate fiction. And then this is one that was on my radar because of a Polycon. Last time I checked, they were going to be there. I haven't checked the updated list from like people canceling or not, but that is Song of the Forever Rains by E.J. Mello. First off, cover, gorgeous. Look at this cover. The Thief Kingdom is a palace hidden within the world of Adelier. Many whisper of its existence, but few have found this place where magic and pleasures abound. There, the mysterious thief king reigns supreme with the help of the Mausai, a trio of revered and feared sorcerers. So anyways, thank you so much to Stephanie, who is my secret Santa. I don't even know if you watch my channel, but if you do, thank you so much. That was absolutely like the best box to open, and they were all little like packaged individually, and it was so much fun to open. Now let's talk about Barnes & Noble, because that's also like kind of a gift. I used Christmas money to go to the Barnes & Noble after Christmas sale that they were doing. It was like 33% off, and then you got another 10%. Honestly, it ended up being a better deal than the 50% off they used to do, because you got the rewards if you're a premium member, which like is worth it. So I bought some books. I'm filming this the day after Christmas, and I did some damage this morning when I went up there. So let's talk about it. The first two technically were for Derek, but also they sound really interesting, and I kind of want to read them too. But I bought two Star Wars novels. Shadow of the Sith by Adam Christopher. This is like Luke and Lando Calrissian. The novel takes place between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, and apparently there's some like explanation of lore at this point. I don't know. I've actually I've only read a couple of the Star Wars books. I have a vlog where I did that, where I'll link it up above, but I want to read more, so hopefully I can. And then Inquisitor Rise of the Red Blade by Delilah S. Dawson. I have heard of this author before. I don't think I've read from her, but this also, I showed it to Derek and I was like, it looks Sithy. So he likes those books. So yeah, but they both sounded really interesting, and so I might read them as well. And then the other ones that are just, I honestly, I don't even have a reason to why I bought them, except that they were on sale. I got The Mimicking of Known Successes by Makala Older. This was a book that was talked about a lot during Tour.comathon, which I helped host with Bethany in March of last year. And this was one that like caught my attention, but I really don't like buying novellas when they're full price because they're expensive. But when you can get a really good sale on them, that's when you go and pick it up. So I found this one. And this is a like cozy gas lamp sci-fi with a sapphic romance. There's a lot going on in this book, but I trust it, and we'll see what happens. I ended up giving a couple of YA books that were on the Goodreads Choice Award for SFF for YA that just looked really interesting, and so I wanted to try them. First is Spice Road by Maya Ibram, and this has spice magic, which sounds really unique and interesting. She has to go and rescue her brother, who everyone thinks is dead, but that she doesn't think is dead, and it just sounded really interesting. And I have been liking some YA fantasy books recently, mostly The Tiger at Midnight and Fireborn and things like that. So I want to try it. I'm not writing off YA yet. And then I also got A Study in Drowning by Ava Reed. I read Juniper and Thorn this year by this author and absolutely loved it. And so I thought I would try this. This is a dark academia fantasy, like very moody type book. And like, listen, Juniper and Thorn was so moody, so aesthetic. And so I have no doubt that she'll be able to do that too. And I would like to try and do a dark academia vlog again. I really tried in November and it just didn't work. So we're gonna try again in 2024. I also got The Archive Undying by Emma Miko Candon. I've heard very mixed things about this, but it's a really interesting sci-fi fantasy. When an AI dies, its city dies with it. When a city falls, it leaves a corpse behind. When that corpse runs off, only devotion can bring it back. Sounds really interesting. There's robot gods. And like, say less. That sounds so interesting. I talked in my anticipated reads video about wanting to read some Frida McFadden, and the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition of The Housemaid was there. They had one copy left, and so I was like, oh, I'm gonna grab this. And everyone has been talking about this book. It made, like, the sequel made the Goodreads Choice Award, but this is about a woman who lives at a rich family's house as their housemaid. But the tagline at the end says, I reassure myself, the Winchesters don't know who I really am. They don't know what I'm capable of. Sounds shocking, sounds interesting. And then lastly, at Barnes & Noble, I picked up Crown of Gilded Bones by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the next book that I am up on the From Blood and Ash. There we go, that's the word. This is the next book that I need in the From Blood and Ash series, and these ones are normally super expensive books, so getting them on almost half off was a good deal. But anyway, this is book 3, and I really have enjoyed the series so far, and I'm going to be meeting her at a Polycon. She's the one that runs a Polycon, so I kind of want to read a few more of her books before I get there. Okay, well, that was the gifts. I still have a couple of stacks of books that I need to talk to you about. So let's do that. First, let's talk about special editions and book boxes. I have one book from Aardvark and one book from Book of the Month. So my Aardvark one is Yours for the Taking by Gabrielle Korn. This is a like near future sci-fi. I think it takes place in 2050. It's queer. I think our main character is like in a queer relationship. It just says like Ava and her girlfriend. It says it's a mesmerizing story of queer love, betrayal, and chosen family, and an unflinching indictment of white corporate feminism. So that sounds like it could be really interesting. I've never heard anybody talk about it, but Aardvark always comes up with some of the weirdest books that you'd ever hear of, and like they're always fascinating. And then also a sci-fi, The Future by Naomi Alderman. This is one that I have heard a lot of people talk about, but like they've only given mediocre reviews about it. But it's from the author of The Power. Comes a dazzling tour de force where a handful of friends attempt to save the world from the tech giants whose greed threatens the life as we know it. And then I found this on Pango. It was relatively cheap and I had some Pango bucks, and so I wanted to spend it on like a nice book rather than like a bunch of books. It is the Goldsboro edition of Ashes of the Sun by Django Wexler. This was my favorite book of 2022, but it is signed and numbered. It comes with this gorgeous bookmark that is, you can't see in the light, but it's gorgeous. And then it is number 267 of 1000. But yeah, I found it on Pango, like for I think maybe $30. So really excited about that. And then finally, after like entirely too long, like honestly it was like 3 or 4 months, I was on the wait list for Illumicrate, and I finally got off of it. And I was able to get the book only subscription, which was fantastic. And so the book for December was The Principle of Moments by Esme Jacemi Pearson. Gorgeous. Stunning sprayed edges. Back of the book. Honestly, it's just a gorgeous book, and I'm so excited. The end papers are super gorgeous, and then that's what the front of the book looks like. Now let's talk about what it is, because honestly, I don't know. So it takes place in 6066 and 1812. So time travel. Fun stuff. This is a symphonic, centuries-spanning adventure, unmissable for fans of the spacefaring found family of Becky Chambers and the alternate London of V.E. Schwab and the virtuosic claymate craft of N.K. Jemisin. Sounds interesting. But yeah, there's time traveling, and this one person from 6066 gets stuck in 1812. I've never read from this author before. I don't know who they are, and I haven't seen any reviews of it, but concept sounds really good. All right, now I have a few books for vlog projects. So When We Were Dragons by Kelly Barnhill. I really loved her middle grade book, and this is an adult book. Alex Green lives in a world much like ours, except for this seminal event, the mass dragoning of 1955, when hundreds of thousands of women sprouted wings, scales, and talons and took to the skies. Was it their choice? What became of those left behind? Why did Alex's beloved Aunt Marla transform, but her mother did not? Alex doesn't know. It's taboo to speak of. Sounds like an interesting concept. Then we have The Gospel of Loki by Joanne M. Harris. I'll just tell you what I'm going to do for this, because you should be able to figure it out. During the Amazing Readathon, I was dubbed Loki, or Brie Loki. And so I thought, what better way to bring around round 2 of the Amazing Readathon than to read books about Loki. So this is going to be one of them. This is an older fantasy. I think like it was made, I want to say it was like 2012, but I found it on Pango for super cheap. And this is like Loki from the Norse god perspective, not like Loki from Marvel, but I'm going to be reading a combination of a few of those, both the Marvel version and the Norse god version of it, for a fun little vlog. Also along the lines of trying to find a new YA fantasy that I really liked, based on how much I loved Fireborn. I found House of Dragons by Jessica Clueless. This is like a Game of Thrones, but make it YA. The Emperor is dead, and so the 5 houses of Etrusia must attend the calling, where one of their own will be selected to fight for the throne. In this proud dragon empire, the oldest child of each house is always called the Golden Child, the one who has spent a lifetime preparing to compete in the glorious trial. But this year is different. This year, the 5 outcasts will be pitted against one another. So competition element, sounds like it could be interesting. I'm gonna do some sort of vlog surrounding that. Also, there's a lot of dragon books in here. Spine of the Dragon by Kevin J. Anderson. I heard Rachel talk about this book, and it sounded interesting, and I found it on Pango for like $5, I think. So I picked it up. And then I purchased a couple of books prior to the top 10 of the Goodreads Choice Awards coming out, and so these two books did not make it into the top 10, but I'm thinking I might do a video where I do 11 through 20. So if I do, then I still have these. Venco by Sherry DeMaline. This is written by an Indigenous author. It says it's a wildly imaginative and compulsively readable epic of adventure, history, Americana, feminism, and magic by the supremely gifted author of Empire of the Wild. This was also a book that was recommended to me like months ago when I was doing a like TBR company chooses my TBR, which also the video got scrapped. But I might try to pick it back up. And then Atalanta by Jennifer Saint. I've heard good things about her other book, and so this one, even if I don't do the 11 through 20 books, I might continue reading this one too. This is a Greek retelling, obviously, about Atalanta. And then there was this really cute book trailer over by the outlet malls across the street from where I work. And so Shay from Shay Geeks Out and I both went over there because we actually are local. And so we picked a book out, and also like a cute little couple little goodies. So I picked up None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. This is actually a book that I am going to be reading for a project in February, so it'll be read relatively soon. And then also a couple of little goodies, this little cute bookmark that actually I realized is from Gigi and Bo, which is a really like popular bookmark creator over on Instagram. And then I also picked up the sticker that says a bit of a mess, but I'm doing my best, and it's really cute. So anyways, all those little things were inside here. But yeah, I'll be reading this in February. This is a book about birthday twins, and then they're on a podcast, and like some strange things are happening. Apparently being birthday twins is not a great thing. And then the last pile of books I have no rhyme or reason for. No rhyme or reason for. I mean, the first one is just because I have FOMO and everyone else was picking it up, and so I picked it up, and that is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This is a YA fantasy romance that everyone's talking about, and they're always, everyone says it's not a good book, but it's a fun time. So I want to see what the hype is. And then I got Wildfire by Hannah Grace. This is the same author that wrote Icebreaker, but this is about camp counselors, and I was a camp counselor like my entire college career, and so I thought that would be a fun romance, because we all know what happens at summer camp stays at summer camp. You know, it's fine. And then I got Forget Me Not by Julie Soto. I know Michelle really loved this book this year, and a couple of other people have read it and really enjoyed it. So this one might have a project attached to it. I'm not really sure yet. But it's a second chance romance about a wedding planner and her grumpy ex, who I think is the florist, and they have to work together to plan a celebrity event, and it's been getting a lot of buzz, so we'll see what happens. And then maybe I'm just in my sci-fi era. I don't know. But I found the Terraformers by Anna Louie Newitz. Bethany over at Beautifully Bookish Bethany read this a few months ago, and I don't remember even what she thought of it, but like some of the buzzwords were really interesting to me, so when I found it for super cheap, I picked it up. But this is about a character whose life is dedicated to terraforming the planet. As part of the environmental rescue team, she cares for the planet and its burgeoning ecosystems as her parents and their parents did before her. But the bright, clean future they've been building comes under threat when Destry discovers a city full of people that shouldn't exist hidden inside of a massive volcano. That's probably a problem. So anyways, yeah, maybe I'm just in my like climate fiction dystopian type era. And then I have The Jasad Heir by Sarah Hashim. This was a book that was in the romantasy category of the Goodreads Choice Awards, and everyone was like, oh, it's actually more of an epic fantasy than a romantasy, and so I became intrigued. Shattered kingdoms, forbidden magic, cunning royals unfold in this Egyptian-inspired epic fantasy debut. Sounds like it's politically based and politically motivated, and so this sounds like right up my alley. And it's an Orbit book, and I don't know, I've generally loved pretty much everything I've read from this publisher. And then I picked up Checkmate by Allie Hazelwood. This is her YA book, and everyone was like, oh, this one's actually really good, and like maybe this is where she should write. And I was going to write off Allie Hazelwood, especially after reading Bride, but like I'll give her one more shot. I actually found this at Walmart for like $6, so I was like, I'm not missing anything. And then I did a vlog where Instagram decided what I did for the weekend, and you know what? Y'all told me I should go book shopping. So I went book shopping and bought The September House by Carissa Orlando. This has been comped as like the TV show Ghost, but in book form. And it's like cozy horror, and I think I could really get behind that. So I'm excited about this. But it's about a woman who buys this house and it's haunted, and she's like, okay, cool. Like, home ownership is too expensive, so we're just gonna live with the ghost. So anyway, those are the books that I purchased in the last bit or were gifted to me. Thank you so much to everyone who gave me a gift. You absolutely did not have to do that. I'm so blessed, and I appreciate you all just like watching my videos and liking and commenting and, you know, interacting with me in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, thank you so much. These sappy videos are the ones that always like, they're just awkward for me. I don't know. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you are new here and you have not yet subscribed, there's a little button that you can do so down below the video. If you'd like to hang out with me more, the links to my Instagram, Goodreads, Twitter, and my Patreon are linked in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!